Good afternoon. It's Jenny Gee coming to you on this Friday afternoon, and just kind of out in my yard right now. Fridays are typically my day off from church, and so I always, Thursday evening, Friday morning, I start to think of all the things I want to get done around the house because I'm home and I'm gonna just do all these things. And so this week, as I've been coming and going in and out of my driveway, I'm looking at my garden and I'm thinking, oh, it is really starting to look kind of worn out. Um, a lot of the things that were flowering are either at their end or they're done. Um, I'm almost embarrassed to show you where we're at here with things, but I haven't. It is in its peak of kind of like squalor in a way. But see, I left some goldenrod. I can't tell you how much goldenrod I actually weeded out, and I say weeded only because it was literally taking over. But now I'm thinking, ooh, I should have left it. My chives are in full bloom, and these purple things are still looking pretty nice, right? Got some things, but then I get over like where the butterfly bush is, and it's still got some life left to it. But there in the background, you see the purple coneflower, and that is very much beyond its where it was. It flowered for a very long time. It was really beautiful. It was covered with pollinators. Everything was really good, but it's done. And so I thought, well, I'm gonna get out and I'll deadhead. And I know that a lot of the flowers that I have growing in the garden are great as far as like packing themselves. They're packed with seeds and the birds do land on them. But it's sort of one of those things where I convince myself it's okay that I clean it all up, because I want it to look neat and orderly. I don't want my neighbors to get mad at me. Right now it looks kind of like a field. But being that I was off today, as I looked out my dining room window, and I'm so sad that they're not here right now because I wanted to show you, and it just always seems to go that way, is that I miss getting on this, when I'm recording, I miss getting the thing. But as I looked out my dining room window and my front door this morning, I just was really treated to some very beautiful goldfinches who were hanging off that purple coneflower, like it was their job. And I guess in a way it is. So I thought, I'm not going to deadhead. I will go through and weed out some of the things that have grown in, some of the grasses and a little bit of thistle and stuff like that. And I'll do that. I'll do that this afternoon. I'll neaten it up a little bit. But I am going to leave my purple coneflower because wow, were the goldfinches on there, and they were so beautiful. And so we are going to talk today about goldfinch, the goldfinches. And I hope that you see them in your yard too. If you put up feeders in the wintertime, you see them. And one of the things you've probably noticed that's very noticeable is how beautiful and bright they're. They are the color of the goldenrod. So bright, it's almost shocking that an animal is that bright and showy, when there's so many predators out there after that little dude. But they are not that way when they're at our feeder in the winter, right? They're more of like an olive color. And that's because they molt their feathers, and goldfinches do it twice a year. So you can imagine how much energy must be needed to lose all your feathers. Not all at once. They lose them, they grow them, they lose them, they grow them, and they look rather shaggy, but they don't lose them all at once. That wouldn't be a very safe thing to do. Some birds do. If you've ever heard of a sitting duck, it's because ducks end up losing so many of their feathers they become flightless during their molt. They kind of do it all at once. But goldfinch, they'll lose them. You probably noticed right now at this time of year, the cardinals, if they've been landing anywhere near, they don't even look like cardinals, or they look like there's something wrong with them because their beautiful crest is missing. They are molting their summer feathers, and they'll grow on their winter feathers. So goldfinch, let's just talk about them though. So they are granivores. They are seed eaters through and through. So they will land on your flowers that have gone to seed, and be plucking those seeds out to give them all that good energy. Right now, they're still that beautiful gold color, and they will be molting those feathers. You'll start to see them, if you have them in your yard quite a bit, you'll start to see them get kind of splotchy looking. And then you'll see as we're through September and October and head into November that they're that kind of, like I said, olive drab almost color. But you can always identify them by the wing bars that they have, the black bars on their wings that are still pretty showy. One of the really interesting things is that even in the molt from the summer showy yellow color feathers, and their feet and legs are also kind of like an orangey yellow. Even that changes color to kind of a more gray in the wintertime. So they really are able to be hidden better. You know, you can imagine that showy yellow color is not helpful as far as camouflage, but they are able throughout the wintertime to be less visible to predators. And so it's a good reason to lose that coloration. But they will then again molt those feathers a second time come next spring, and they'll get the male will get that really bright color again and be showy and beautiful as he attracts a mate. So because of all the energy expended with this molting, a lot of times goldfinches will only have one nest, and one nesting period of the year. Some experienced females, they say, can have two, but they have a very, very tightly woven nest. It shouldn't be out in the open too much because it can even hold water. And she'll lay 2, 3, 4, 5 eggs in there, and she'll incubate. He'll bring her food. And then once the babies are born, very loud hummingbirds right now coming to the feeder. They're very chittery. Once the babies are born, he'll bring more and more and more food as they grow older, and she and he will both be feeding them because those babies require quite a bit. What's really kind of interesting is, I don't know if you've ever heard about like how cowbirds are, as far as they don't actually build a nest, but they'll go to other birds' nests and they'll lay an egg here and an egg there and an egg here and an egg there. And then that poor mama, you know, is taking care of this baby that isn't even hers. And cowbirds tend to grow quite large, and so they take over, and they'll even kill her little babies, and she'll just keep feeding this giant baby and you know, successfully help a bird of another species to survive, which is, it's kind of a strange thing. What's interesting is cowbirds will lay their egg in a goldfinch nest, but because goldfinches only eat seed and she's only bringing seed back, that's just not enough energy for a cowbird baby. So she doesn't purposefully do him in or her in, but because she's bringing it seed, it's not enough like protein and energy for that cowbird to grow. So it'll die in about 2 or 3 days after hatching, and then she'll just get rid of it and she'll raise her own, never knowing that it wasn't hers to begin with. So it's kind of an interesting, I guess, benefit of being a seed eater when you're a bird. Yeah. So just back to the goldfinch in general, though, they some of the ones from north of here will migrate. They don't want to stay anywhere where it's super, super, super cold, but they can tolerate our temperatures here in the Cleveland area. And they're just really kind of cool. So if you have some flowers that have gone to seed in your yard, don't feel bad about leaving them behind because the birds are enjoying them. And I'm going to just remind myself of that as I look at it. It's not the aesthetics of my garden. It is, what is it doing for the insects and the birds, right? And so that is what I'm going to focus on and leave, and then look for them at my feeders. And we will be talking lots and lots and lots this winter time about the birds at the feeders, because that's always kind of a fun thing. But if you notice, if you see a goldfinch and it's looking very splotchy and icky, that is not a problem. That is exactly what it's supposed to be doing, is it's losing these bright shining, beautiful feathers that have attracted a mate and move into their winter mode. So we just live in such an amazing, creative world full of variety, and points to such a creative and amazing God. So enjoy your yard in whatever state it's in this weekend, and enjoy watching things change as we move into the fall, because so much is transforming right now and changing before our eyes. And I will see you next week. If you are able to, please join us on Sunday. We are having our kickoff after the 10:30 service, and it would be so much fun to reconnect, catch up with all of our old friends as we come back from a fun, adventurous summer and see each other again. So, see you soon. Bye.